Welcome back, everybody, to Good Real Hunting. Or if you are new here, welcome to Good Real Hunting. I am the BrettMan Stewart, and today I will be ranking the I Know What You Did Last Summer franchise. And yes, let me repeat that your ears did not deceive you. We actually do have an I Know What You Did Last Summer franchise, and I will be ranking it on this episode of the podcast and YouTube video from the worst to the best. How the ranking will be determined, as per usual. This is just my personal opinion, so it's just my list. It's like not saying my list is better for yours, or I'm not even saying your list is better than mine. Mine is just a list, just for my opinion. And I do apologize for sounding a little congested. I am still recovering from a cold. I feel like I am definitely on the upswing, so I should be a lot better for the next live stream episode that we will have this coming Thursday. So thank you for bearing with me. So let's get on to this ranking by asking just a question. Which films deserve a Death Note a year from now, and which ones will survive next summer? Let's find out. All right, let's kick this off at number four. Number four is going to be I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer. And just my initial quick thoughts about this one, because this movie is absolutely a dog shit from a horse's ass. And this is the first time I used that phrase while recording these franchise ranking videos for the podcast and YouTube. So pretty much, what in the world is a dog shit from a horse's ass? To me and my co-host Brad and my other co-host Chris, this is the worst of the worst. Like, this is like indeed like some of the worst movies out there in cinema, and this one right here, I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer, definitely deserves that title of a dog shit from a horse's ass, as absolutely one of the worst horror movies ever. And instead of talking about it, because I could talk about a great 20 minutes of why this movie is absolutely horrible, instead, in this particular section, I'm going to just give you my pitch of a perfect I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer. And it pretty much brings back Julie James and Ray, this time being married a couple of years later. Actually, a good while, like I would say probably 17 or 18 years later. We got a little bit of marital problems between the two, because again, it's just what stuff happens in the past that they just can't really get rid of. And while at the same time, they have to deal with their daughter graduating from high school, like around that time when their accident happened of the original I Know What You Did Last Summer. Then their daughter will find a note. She opens the note. It says, "I know what your parents did last summer." And then that's when everything hits the rail right there. Ben Willis actually survives. And I know what you're thinking. Well, at this time, Ben Willis would be really, really old, and he really did die in I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. So hear me out on this. When yes, Ben Willis got shot in I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, but he got shot in the chest. There's a rule in horror movies where you have to get shot in the head. No one shot him in the head. He only got shot in the chest. And my mom actually brought up this when we were watching the movie together. He could have easily been wearing a bulletproof vest. Easily could have. But again, we will never know that. This is just, again, my pitch. I know it's not perfect and there could be a couple things fixed about it. But we bring back Ben Willis one more time, causing havoc to the family of Julie and Ray and their young daughter, and that Julie and Ray have to work together to go save their daughter, and then their marriage problems heal together, and they also have a kind of like a relationship problem with their daughter too. But everything gets fixed at the end when they save each other. To me, that is way better than a damn ghost fisherman. Would you say that? Do you agree with my pitch? Let me know in that comic section to see if my pitch should have been the actual pitch for this movie. I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer, but unfortunately, I have to rate with what we got, and this movie is dog shit from a horse's ass. Coming in at number three, and I'm going to give this to I Know What You Did Last Summer from 2025, the latest installment into this franchise, or really the installment that officially has made I Know What You Did Last Summer into an actual franchise. And don't worry, I'm not going to spoil anything. This part of this is going to be a spoiler free, just in case if you've not gone out to the theater to see the newest installment of I Know What You Did Last Summer. I appreciate the ideas, and I appreciated for this movie to try to attempt to be different. It's the fourth movie of this. I know I'm still kind of laughing to myself at this is actually a franchise now, how far it has literally gotten. But yes, I appreciate like this is the fourth movie into this franchise now, so you kind of have to start with the whole thing of just creating different ideas and just to be different, like for your film to stand out in the franchise. It's a really really good attempt, but in my opinion I think it fails at being a requel. I will say great job on bringing back nostalgia to this movie. Paying homage to the original I Know What You Did Last Summer and a little couple of things from I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Thank God they did not acknowledge I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer. This movie definitely has good kills. I was really, really impressed with that, especially one in particular. And of course, The Fisherman looked great. This was the first time I got to saw The Fisherman on the big screen, and I was just loving the look of The Fisherman, the tone of The Fisherman. Good job at creating suspense, especially at the beginning. They really, really did a good job with creating suspense, and everything was just casually good with the suspenseness of this movie. I thought it was really, really well done. I did like Madeline Klein and Chase Sue Wonders' performances. They pretty much did exactly what they were hired to do. They did a very good job. It's just unfortunately to me, the rest of the characters I really just didn't care about. So that's just very unfortunate. But the two ladies that they needed to do well in this movie, I thought they did a solid job. Very solid job. The legacy characters, of course, who I'm talking about, legacy characters, is Julie James and Ray. And honestly, I think they failed at their job. And there is a reason why I truly think they failed. But if I explained it, it would be a spoiler. So I'm just going to leave it at that, that I think they failed. This movie failed with their legacy characters to help the newer characters. So I could go more, but I promise not to spoil it. So I'm going to finish it here. Number three for I Know What You Did Last Summer, 2025. All right, let's get controversial here with my number two. It's going to be the original I Know What You Did Last Summer. And I love the plot of this movie of four teens, having fun, having a bright future ahead of them. And then just one little accident just completely derails their entire lives. Two of them mainly in particular because they no longer have a life. But just the plot in general, just absolutely great. Very good mystery to this as well, trying to figure out who this actual fisherman really is and the person that knows what these four characters did last summer. So again, I thought that was a very good job. This movie has great tension. I love the mood and atmosphere and the color grading of the camera. I thought all of that was very well done. And of course, I love the cast in this movie of Jennifer Love Hewitt, Freddie Prinze Jr., Sarah Michelle Gellar, and of course Ryan Felipe. I will say this though, the kills could have been a little better because this movie was generated from Kevin Williamson from the success of the original Scream from 1996. So you would think that a movie that's kind of like, I was kind of say in a way the offspring of Scream, but trying to be as absolutely its own thing, and which it does. But you would think a movie that was inspired from the movie Scream just a little bit could have done a little bit better job on kills. Because I feel like we could have seen more carnage candy. But that's just my opinion. But lastly, Julie, the character Julie, in my opinion, could have been a better final girl because, in my opinion, this is just my opinion. I think Julie James is the most overrated final girl in the history of the horror genre because to me, she does a lot more damsels in distress than actually being a very good, true final girl. So, And she didn't do that much of a better job in the requel, If I Know What You Did Last Summer from 2025. Again, you can read my letterbox spoiler review as I go more in depth on Julie from 2025. But it all really, I just wish in this original movie she could just been a lot more, because to me, I thought Helen Shivers, played by Sarah Michelle Gellar, did a lot more of being a final girl than what Julie did as being a final girl. Again, just my opinion. I know that might be a lot of controversy right there, especially putting this movie at number two. But again, this is my list. This is just my personal opinion. So, number two, the original I Know What You Did Last Summer. All right, coming in at number one is going to be I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. And my ratings for this movie being better than the original is for the following. I love when a sequel movie definitely stays true to the rules of being a successful sequel. And as I've already stated on these podcast recordings and recent YouTube video recordings, that a sequel's main job is just to double everything that the original movie does. And I think it absolutely does that in a very good way. And plus, I just had a lot more fun with this movie as well, because to me, the kills were way better and gorier than it was in the original. Like, I still know what you did last summer. What they did with their kills and being gory is what I actually expected the first movie to be. And then for the sequel, just to do maybe a little bit better job or dial down a little bit. Just again, my opinion on that. I thought the kills were way better in this movie, especially Jack Black's kill. I thought was very damn brutal. And I would even say Julie improves a little bit in this movie as well, like doing just like to her looks and her being a little smart, and of course getting a little couple more better shots in at Ben Willis, legitimately and literally better shots. But it's just they still have some of the same problems. So, with the main problem being that she still needs saving. Yes, she got a couple, again, the shots on Ben Willis, but for most throughout the rest of the time, she was just needing to be saved. And I think a strong final girl just rarely needs to be saved, but does mostly the ass kicking. And I actually thought that Julie was actually a bad girlfriend in this movie, too, and especially her best friend being a bad friend, really just trying to get her to get away from Ray and to be with Will. Again, just I thought both of those girls were just very like bad friends and a very bad girlfriend, just in my opinion. But I do love the side characters, though. I do love Jack Black being the little like pot dealer and all that. I thought that was just absolutely hilarious. I definitely like the bartender chick. I believe her name was Nancy. And of course, we get Jeffrey Cobbs in this as the hotel manager, which he is a famous horror icon from the movie Reanimator as the crazy doctor bringing stuff back from the dead with his green little ooze. Of course, lastly, what I really enjoyed about this movie, I definitely loved the twist reveal for Will Benson. Will Benson, Ben Willis, with Will Benson being the son of Ben Willis, I thought was just absolutely well done. And I know some people are going to feel like, well, yeah, that twist is just okay. Just for me personally, I thought it was very creative and very well executed. So I thought that was really well done. So I Still Know What You Did Last Summer is indeed my number one. Maybe in the future, this could change between my number one and my number two. But just as I rewatched all these recently, I had a lot better time with I Still Know What You Did Last Summer over the original. So, number one, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. That is my list from the I Know What You Did Last Summer. So let me go ahead and quickly recap. Number four is I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer. Number three is I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025. Number two is the original I Know What You Did Last Summer. And of course, number one is I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. So let me know, what do you think about my ranking about this franchise? Do you agree with my list, or do you think my list, especially my number one and number two, is complete trash and that your list is better? If you are listening on the YouTube side of things, let me know in the comment section down below so we can get that discussion rolling. Or if you are listening by podcast, please be sure to leave a 5-star review and a comment on your franchise ranking. And again, thank you so much for listening in. So before we close out here, gotta give a couple of shout outs and information here. And of course, let's give a shout out to social medias here, especially with our Facebook group of Good Real Hunting, where we discuss all movies and shows, mainly in the horror genre, but sometimes we like to get away from horror and talk about other things. But we love our horror movies. So if you are a horror fan or a horror fanatic, be sure to join our Facebook group. And then Instagram is where you can keep up all things of Good Real Hunting, from channel updates, stream announcements, and podcast announcements as well. And of course, we got a TikTok account for real time reactions, which is pretty much my out of theater reactions. And we also got real news as well, for when anything ginormous happens in the horror genre. I'll be sure to get a reaction video to that news announcement. And of course, if you're listening by YouTube, or if you're not listening by YouTube, we do have a YouTube channel called Good Real Hunting. And if you visit us, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, as it helps defeat the evil algorithm that is YouTube, so that the YouTube channel of Good Real Hunting can absolutely be the best that it can possibly be. Or if you have not been listening to us on podcasts, we are available on podcasts as well by Apple Pod, Spotify, and Podbean. And I addressed this last week. I'll address it again. If you're just interested in Letterbox, I do have a Letterbox account where I will be doing written reviews for non-spoiler and now spoilers. So I'll do two different types of reviews, and I will be sure to label it as much as a non-spoiler and a spoiler, so you know which written review is which. And you can find me on Letterbox with the username BrettMan865. And lastly, I want to thank our amazing Patreons and YouTube members. Thank you so much for being the backbone of this podcast and YouTube channel. We appreciate each and every single one of you. And if you want to be a Patreon or a YouTube member, those links are in the description down below, along with all the other social media links as well. And what's coming up for next week? Not really going to do a Fantastic Four franchise ranking, just because this Marvel version of Fantastic Four is going to just absolutely just destroy the other Fantastic Four movies. So I just don't think it'd be a good idea to rank them. So I'm just going to do a surprise horror topic ranking next week. So you'll have to tune in next week to figure out what particular horror topic I will be ranking. So until next time, keep hunting for the good reels and have a great day.